Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I'm so happy you're with us today. Longtime Seek Reality listeners have some favorite guests that they especially love because what those guests know and what they can share with us and what that might be able to do for people who may need their care is precious, and it's often very enjoyable for us to hear about and hear how it works. So we like hearing from these people, and one of the special friends of this program that we really like hearing from is with us today. Peter Wright is a longtime personal friend of mine as well, over, I think, the past 15 years maybe. I first met him when I was in California on a speaking tour. I don't do speaking tours anymore, but I did back then. And he's just so naturally delightful that he invited me right back to his studio in Santa Barbara for a hypnotic regression session. And I swore to him, I can't be hypnotized, but you could try. But I can, it turns out, be hypnotized by experts like him. And my Thomas, my own spirit guide, would not allow me to be hypnotically regressed. Nope. It turned out, though, that he couldn't prevent it. He just would not allow me to be regressed to any kind of lifetime he and I had together. So Peter and my guide negotiated, and Peter is very good at his trade. He negotiated with Thomas and got him to agree that we could at least invite all my previous lifetimes that I've lived with Thomas in bodies to join us in that room at once. Oh, my goodness. I think I may have talked about this before on this program, but not recently. But if you can imagine, there were 17 men. They were all men in period costume who appeared in Peter's treatment room in Santa Barbara, California, to answer a few questions while I was there under hypnosis. I saw these men who were all previous me, and I don't remember the questions anymore, but I just remember looking at these people who had no interest in me lying there. They were all interested, though, in Thomas very much and in talking about their previous lives. I think this was 15 years ago. Wow. What an amazing experience that was, looking at these people and thinking I was these people. They were all very young. I don't think I lived very long in any of those lives. But that's Peter. He can do these things. Peter is a certified hypnotherapist based in Santa Barbara, California. He holds the distinction of being one of only 40 board-certified past life regression therapists in the United States. He has more than 25 years of experience working with thousands of clients and a whole variety of kinds of problems. It turns out there's a lot of stuff that's kind of based in these past lives and in other lives and in stuff that this kind of works against and helps with. He has worked with many Seek Reality listeners. And in fact, this is a funny story. I emailed him about joining us again for the 20th time. This is his 20th visit with us. He emailed me right back and he said, "Funny you should think of me today because I've just heard from another Seek Reality listener that I can help." So, yes, of course, let's do this again, he said. Peter, welcome. I'm so happy to have you back with us today.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me again.
And so I said to him, okay, what are we going to talk about today? And he actually has a new idea. He always has some new idea for us to talk about. So tell us, what are we going to do today, Peter? What's our voyage today?
What I'd like to do is talk about a recent client of mine. Let's say her name is Ellen, and she's given me permission to share what occurred during our hypnotherapy session. So today, as we talk, I'm going to be referring to my notes from our session to give your viewers and listeners a real firsthand glimpse of what can happen during one of my hypnotherapy sessions, because I offer a unique approach that involves bringing in the client's own heart, higher self, and all their guidance to partner with us during the session because they know everything about you and are eager to help you resolve these issues and maybe have conspired to bring us together for the session to help you release what no longer serves you.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's go. This is a great trip. Let's go ahead to do it.
So let's say her name is Ellen, and she came to me because she wanted to heal her nervous system and release the long-standing fight or flight issues that have been triggered for her over the years. She thought that they were perhaps caused by her dad and Michael, her ex-husband. Again, the names are changed here. Ellen told me she started having problems with her dad when her younger brother was born. Her ex-husband, Michael, had a violent temper and had tried to kill her when she was 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
Ellen came to me because she wanted to remove the blocks that were preventing her from feeling more content and joyful in her life, and she wanted to feel that she was enough. So we used that as a jumping off point, plus one other area. Ellen wanted some help in selling her successful business so she could use the money to create an organization that could have a positive impact on lots of other people.
Wow. Okay. So she's a good person.
So we were using these issues as a way to invite her guidance to come forth for their help in leading her through a session that could help her resolve these issues.
Okay.
So we got together for a session on Zoom because I work with clients by Zoom or phone or Skype or in person. Ellen was sitting up in bed at home in Nevada and I was in my office here in Santa Barbara. So as we began, we first talked briefly about the issues she wanted to focus on, and then I guided her into hypnosis and then on up into the light of the fifth dimension. For those of you who do not know much about hypnosis, it's just simply focused concentration, where you're fully aware of everything that's going on around you, hear the traffic outside, but hopefully sharing with me what's going on inside of you. Because I believe so many of our answers are within us if we can just get out of the way.
Yeah, right.
And I'm here to help you get out of the way. If you've ever cried while watching a sad film, you've been in trance, focused concentration, reading a good book, watching television, daydreaming. We go in and out of trance every day. It's easy to get there. And once you're there, it's very easy to connect with your heart, your higher self, and all your guidance. In fact, that's what we did. So I guided Ellen into hypnosis and then on up into the light of the fifth dimension. In the fifth dimension, high vibration, we can go anywhere, anyhow, anywhy, anywhen. And in that very high vibration, it's easy to connect with your guidance. So we're up there in the light, and I asked Ellen, what does that place look like or feel like or seem like to you? And she said, it's a happy place, filled with clouds and hustle and bustle. In fact, my grandmother's here, and she just hugged me. So, great.
Yeah.
So we invited Ellen's heart to join us. And I asked her, how does your heart make itself known to you? Because I find that my clients they may see or sense or feel the presence of their guidance. And so she said, it's a feeling in my chest. Okay, so let's invite that heart energy in your chest to come forth right now as if you were channeling it with words like, I'm here. So Ellen channeled her heart's energy saying, I'm here. So I asked her heart, how do you support Ellen? And the heart replied through Ellen, I beat for her. I attract the feelings of love. So I asked Ellen's heart, are you aware of Ellen's higher self? And heart said yes. So through you, can we invite her higher self to join us? Yes. All right. Let's do that now and describe the feeling or how you experience your higher self's energy. And Ellen said, it's like an aura all around me. Okay. So let's now channel that energy, Ellen. I'm here, said her higher self. Now, from my perspective, it's a voice. I hope it's her higher self, but it's simply a voice. It could be any voice. So I asked a key question. Are you in service to the light and love of the one infinite creator? If it is not her higher self or a wisdom figure from the light, it cannot lie and say, I sure am. So higher self said yes to that question. So I asked this, so how do you support Ellen? Higher self said, I connect to the higher realms. I'm her inner guidance. I go before her and create the things that she desires. Oh, all right, excellent. So we invited Archangel Michael to join us next. We often work with him because he's so powerful and knowledgeable. I'm here, he said through Ellen. So I asked Ellen, how do you experience Archangel's energy? And she said, he's so big and so gorgeous. So I asked him, are you in service to the light and love of the one infant creator? And of course he said yes. So at this point, I asked her heart, her higher self, and Archangel Michael to form an inner wisdom team that will work with during the session and bring their awareness, their wisdom about Ellen forward to help her resolve these issues. And we'll be adding to the team as the session unfolds. So with this team formed, I then asked Ellen to imagine herself standing in front of a magic mirror of truth. And as she looked into the mirror at her own reflected energy, I asked her, what do you experience? What do you sense or feel or see? And Ellen said, I see a female angel who's young, vibrant, and joyful, dressed in a spiritual essence. Okay, so let's invite that energy in the mirror to come forth right now and announce its presence with words like, I'm here. I'm here, said the angel. Are you a part of Ellen or something else? I'm a part of Ellen. Okay. How do you affect Ellen? I'm a spirit guide who connects her to the higher realms, and I intervene to give her guidance. In fact, the spirit guide added, I am that small voice within her. Okay. What name may we call you? Rosie, her spirit guide said.
Well, how cute.
So we invited Rosie to join Ellen's inner wisdom team. Now I asked the team, what issue should we focus on first? And they replied that the number one issue for Ellen was this fight or flight issue. And I asked the team, okay, now that we know the issue, tell me more about it. What's it caused by? And they said, several causes. We were told that the first cause occurred at her birth. And her inner wisdom team told us that Ellen came to earth perfectly as a female soul. But her father wanted a son as his firstborn and informed her extended family that he was greatly disappointed when Ellen was born.
Oh.
All right. So we have Dad saying, to those in the family that he was disappointed that Ellen was born. And so we invited Ellen's dad then in Ellen's imagination. I'm here, he said. And then I thought, let's invite God to join us as well, because everyone is available to us in the trance state. So through Ellen, God said, I'm here, in a big bellowing voice as Ellen channeled him. So I asked God to speak his truth to Dad about Ellen. And God said, I sent Ellen perfectly into the world so that when you had a son as your second child, you would end up being what God wanted you to be. Had I not brought Ellen first, your life, Dad, with your son would have been much harder. God then said, your disappointment in having Ellen created negative energy within Ellen and her immediate family. How does Dad respond? Dad said he now understood this and was sorry about what had occurred. So I asked God, what wants to happen next? And God replied through Ellen, Ellen needs to ask for forgiveness and acceptance from Dad and her family who were affected by Dad's disappointment and negative energy. So we moved into a forgiveness and acceptance part of our session. And in doing so, we invited Ellen's family to join us now as a group through Ellen's imagination. So I asked Ellen, who shows up? And Ellen reported her dad, her mom, her grandparents, her ex-husband, and her current boyfriend. So at this point, with everyone present, I asked Ellen to express a divine decree of forgiveness to all those who had joined us at that moment. And this divine decree of forgiveness is a very powerful set of words that can help create an opportunity to forgive. So I asked Ellen to say the following words, phrase by phrase, with as much heartfelt feeling as possible through her heart. And here's what I asked her to say. The Christ in me, and then add your full name, Ellen, forgives all of you for all your actions in thought, word, or deed in this and all lifetimes. And again, she was saying this to all those who joined us from the family. And then I asked her to say the following, phrase by phrase. The Christ in each of you present, here now, forgives me, then adding Ellen's full name, for all my actions in thought, word, or deed in this and all lifetimes. And on saying that, I then rang a Tibetan bell for emphasis. And then I invited Ellen to say the following. And we all release this through all lifetimes, through all parallel lives, and all dimensions, throughout time and space, and all aspects of self, to zero, negative, infinity now. And I rang a Tibetan bell again. And we all move on to our higher good, and so it is. So then I stepped in and said, I ask to all of our masters, teachers, and guides from the highest light to assist in correcting what we have just done today to divine truth and divine perfection now. So on saying that, I then asked Ellen, what just happened? And here's what she said. Before I said those words, my heart was thick and full, and now it is feeling much lighter. So I then asked about those around her. Have they changed in any way? And Ellen replied, my immediate family around me now looks more content and forgiving than before I say those words of the divine decree. So something had shifted, something had changed with everybody present. So I asked God to come forth again and talk about any next steps. And God told us, I've cleared everything related to mom and dad and the immediate family who were involved with this fight and flight issue. In fact, the root cause, God went on to say, for Ellen's fight or flight issue caused by her dad's negativity has now been removed. Ellen will no longer triggered by that. Excellent. But I wasn't sure what wanted to happen next. So I asked her inner wisdom team to come forth again with words like, we're here. We're here, they said to Ellen. So I asked them, what should we focus on next? And they said, we need to release the fight or flight issues involving Ellen and her abusive ex-husband, Michael. So in other words, it was a two-part issue. We needed to first focus on dad, needed to focus on her ex-husband, Michael. Because I learned then that when Ellen was 23 years old, her father would not allow her and her two kids to seek refuge in his home to escape Ellen's husband's violent temper.
Oh, my goodness.
So the inner wisdom team said that we needed to invite her ex-husband, Michael, and her dad to join us as Ellen channeled what they had to say. So they arrived in Ellen's imagination. We're here, they said. So as she was channeling them, Dad spoke first. And he said to Ellen and Michael, I'm sorry that I didn't step up and assist you, Ellen, and your two kids. Instead, I became part of the problem. I should have protected you and your children. Your life might have turned out better if I'd done that. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Then Lord, the ex-husband, and said to his former wife, I'm sorry too. I was in a space that I couldn't hear my own self, so I made it worse for everybody. And I want to break the family curse so it does not affect our two children. Again, I am so sorry. How do you respond, Ellen, to what your dad and Michael just said? And Ellen said, I accept your apologies. I forgive you both. And it feels so very good to say these words. So I asked her inner wisdom team to step in again, and they said it was time to officially break this curse because it had had an impact on the entire extended family of Ellen and her father and her ex-husband and so on. So I asked everybody who was affected by what had occurred in the extended family between Dad and Ellen and her ex-husband to join us now, one by one. And then I asked Ellen, how many people show up? She said 18 members of her extended family showed up, including her parents, her grandparents on both sides, her children, and other grandchildren. So now with the entire group present, I asked Ellen to step forward and address the entire group in her imagination. She did so, and she expressed that same divine decree of forgiveness a second time through her heart as I gave her the wording phrase by phrase. Afterwards, I asked her, what just happened? And Ellen reported, it feels really good to say these words. Everyone present is happy that we got to this place and grateful to me for healing the curse. In fact, my child just said to me, thank you, Mommy. I'm always amazed by what happens in these sessions when things like that occur. So I asked Ellen's inner wisdom team to join us again. We're here, they said. And they commented that coming to closure through the decree had created so much more space around and within Ellen. So there's now room for happiness and joy to be more present in Ellen's life. Wow. So,
Yeah, wow.
I then asked the inner wisdom team, what should we focus on next? And they replied that they wanted to help Ellen fulfill her dream to build a business that could have a positive impact on many different people. Again, that's what one of the goals that Ellen had suggested at the beginning of the session. So I asked the team, who can help her do that from the light? And they responded that her grandfather would help. Okay, so let's invite Ellen's grandfather to join us right now with words like, I'm here. I'm here, he said, as Ellen channeled her grandfather. And here's what he said to Ellen. Listen to Rosie, your spirit guide, that still small voice within you, and let that spirit guide angel assist you. Stay connected to Source, to God. Together, they will guide you to your goal. Wow. From my perspective, that's such great news. Ellen doesn't have to do it herself. So then we asked Rosie, her spirit guide, to join us, the one we met right at the beginning of the session. And here's what Rosie said to us. With the forgiveness and clearing that just occurred today, I can now speak louder and be in Ellen's corner and cause urgency for Ellen to act. All Ellen needs to do is to meditate and listen to her own guidance. So, since Rosie mentioned meditation, I asked Rosie, what's the best meditation practice for Ellen? And Rosie responded, again channeled by Ellen, sit in silence 2 times a day for 20 minutes and follow the promptings that come within you. Also, connect daily with your inner wisdom team in your special sanctuary. They can help and inspire you as well. So, Ellen then asked for help in determining the best time for her to sell her business in order to set up that organization that helps other people. So her grandfather, who was present, joined us and said, Ellen, I'll let you know when the perfect time is to make that decision. Just follow the guidance from your inner wisdom team and me, and I'm here with them to support you. From my perspective, wow, look at all the help that is available to us from the non-physical world, from our guidance by asking within in the trance state for them to come and join us, meet them, and then through that, begin to work with them. So, as that next step in the process, I invited Ellen to imagine herself in a sanctuary where she could reconnect with her inner wisdom team. This could be at the beach, at the top of the mountain, in your backyard, but somewhere where you feel so safe and protected that you are very much at ease asking them to join you in your imagination. So, Ellen described her place, her sanctuary. I'm inside a beautiful building with very soft rugs on the floor. Sunlight is beaming in with lots of crystals all around me. It smells clean and fresh. So we're now in her sanctuary, in her imagination. So I asked, how does your heart now make itself known to you? Well, we've been working with your heart for the last hour and a half, so my hope is you're on a first-name basis with your heart. She said, oh, it's a feeling of expansion in my chest. Great. How about your higher self? How do you experience that energy now? I feel the energy of my higher self filling up my aura. Great. As you sit in your sanctuary, where's Archangel Michael? He's up above me on the right-hand side of the room. He's big with bright white wings, and he looks so angelic. Where's Rosie, your spirit guide? She's in front of me to the left, Ellen said. So, having now reconnected with her inner wisdom team in her sanctuary, I asked her team, how have we helped Ellen during our session today? And I asked a member of the team to come forth right now and report with words like, I'm here. I'm here, said a voice. Who are you? Which member of the team are you? And the team member reported, I'm her grandfather. Okay, so what do we do today, grandfather? What do we do first? We removed the fight-flight energy that had consumed Ellen. Next, we cleared the dark energy from Ellen, her extended family, and from her ex-husband that had prevented forgiveness, acceptance, and the light of God from helping Ellen. What else do we do, grandfather? Well, her grandfather from heaven offered to help Ellen determine the best time to sell her business so she could start an organization that would have a positive impact on lots of other people. What else do we do during our session? We also brought in love and strengthened the connection so Ellen can now at last bring in the abundance that she's been searching for. And what else do we do? We raised Ellen's vibration up to a new level. Ellen can now go forth and live in joy. So with these accomplishments, I then asked her inner wisdom team one final question: to share with us an overall message for Ellen from her team. And who would like to report this with words like, I'm here? Archangel Michael said, I'm here. So what's the message, Archangel Michael, for Ellen from her inner wisdom team? We will protect and guide you. Just stay connected by meditating daily and finding quiet time to continue to meet with us, your inner wisdom team, as you seek further ongoing guidance from us. Ellen was thrilled with the session. So what happens is I send her then a recording of the session and a link to my higher self shortcut, which is a guided visualization that takes you into trance and up into the light. And when you're up in the light, I invite you to be there in your sanctuary, in your imagination, and invite your team to join you. Feel this love and support they have for you. And then with everyone present, ask them a question about your day through your heart and shut up. And get first thought, first feeling, first image, first choice, and answer from your session, from your team. It takes practice, but I include a number of handouts to help you do that. So we get together a week or so after the session for about an hour for a follow-up. And in that session, I review the goals that we set the previous week, and then turned to Ellen and said, in the last week or so, what shifted for you? What hasn't? What have you been thinking about? Any synchronicities? Have you listened to the recording? If so, any comments or questions? But most of the time is spent with me going through my notes, taking you step by step through the session, describing what I was doing and why, and underscoring the wisdom coming from all those who work with us. Because you may not remember what happened in the session completely, but now by going through it, changes have already started to happen in your life as a result, and now you consciously are aware of even more that took place, so more changes can occur. So I went through my notes from the session, and she reported then that the feelings of fight and flight were gone. And she told me that she was continuing to get guidance about next steps in her life by working with her inner wisdom team. And best of all, Ellen was experiencing more love and joy and happiness in her life. In fact, she was thrilled that we'd accomplished so much in just 1 2-hour hypnotherapy session. So I brought it to a close. So comments, questions, please ask.
Well, all right. So some of these people were dead.
Yes. Oh,
some
yeah.
of them were alive.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Were the people who were alive? I'm sort of trying to ask questions that I think the people listening will be wondering about. The people who were alive, were they aware that any of this was happening?
Not in the conscious level, but subconscious. Everybody's available to us in the trance state.
So on the subconscious level, they were changed too in some way. Did she notice changes in those people as well?
I've been doing this for a long time, for 25 years, and what I find is that in the feedback from clients, often we're affected by this. In fact, I had a client, I may have mentioned this in past podcasts. I had a client several years ago who's always had difficult issues with her mom. They've never really gotten along, and my client was 40 years of age. So during the session, we invited mom to join us. And my client was able to speak her truth to mom through her heart, not through her brain. The heart's connected to the fifth dimension, to the light. And she channeled mom's response. And as they were talking back and forth,
this is during the session. Now they're talking back and forth. Okay.
Exactly, because mom was present in the client's imagination.
Right.
So during this that back and forth conversation, mom said to the client that she suddenly realized that her mother, in other words, the client's grandmother, had treated mom the same way that she'd been treating her daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she felt very guilty about it because she just realized it. So she apologized to the client. And the client felt heard and much better as a result. The next day, I got a phone call from the client saying the weirdest thing just happened. I got a text from my mother, who never texts me. She said that she wanted to see what we could do to improve our relationship.
Yeah, see, that's what I would expect. Yeah.
And so mom was present the previous day for our session in her whatever. We're all connected.
So, yes, at some level. That's kind of thing I would expect would happen. Yeah.
And example, I was at a workshop several years ago as a participant, and there was another hypnotherapist present, also a participant, and we engaged in idle chatter before the workshop began. During one of the breaks, he shared with me on his cell phone part of a video of one of his client sessions. Now, his client was in hypnosis. They had invited the client's Uncle Harold to join them in the imagination of the client.
Uncle Harold?
Uncle Harold. Uncle Harold passed off years before. But in the video, you can see a little photograph of Uncle Harold dancing right next to the client's face. There was no photograph of Uncle Harold actually in the session room, but Uncle Harold was present, thank you very much, which proved to me that everybody's available to us in the trance state.
Of course.
Whether they're spirit guides, angels, archangels, ascended masters, loved ones who passed on, past life personalities, everybody's available. So let's invite those who have unfinished business with, who are either alive or passed on or past personalities, to join us so you can come to closure with them through forgiveness, through understanding, through speaking your truth, to saying you're sorry. I don't know what wants to happen for this too.
At some level of consciousness, these meetings are happening.
Yes.
If it's not, if we're not aware that they're happening on a sort of this level, they're happening on this level, and people, yes, that's exactly what I would think would be happening. I would agree.
And what often can happen in these sessions is that, let's say the issue is something that's come down through the lineage. So it's great-great-grandfather, something he way back when that we really don't know too much about, but something happened. Well, we ask Kuan Yin to join us, the Bodhisattva of Compassion. She's a female ascended master, one of the few female ascended masters. She joins us because she heads up the Karmic Council. And we can appeal to the Karmic Council during the session for grace. So I'll ask her, are you in service light and love one of the Creator? Yes, great. So we know it's the true Kuan Yin. And is this issue something involved with karma from this life or the lineage? And she'll say yes, either way. And if it's from the lineage, we invite representatives from the lineage to join us right then and there and tell us what happened.
Interesting how this works.
So we can come to closure with it, with those from the lineage and their counterparts who are in my client's life today through a divine decree of forgiveness where everybody forgives everybody else because we're all doing the best that we can in that instant.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'd be doing something different. So let it go. Forgive yourself. Move on.
It's so amazing how this works, but it does work.
Yeah. And you don't even have to believe in it. No, this is not.
You just have to participate in it truly. That's all you have to do.
Through your heart. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm so impressed with this particular approach. And I want to give credit to Catherine Ponder, who's a metaphysical writer. The Divine Decree of Forgiveness is through her works that I came upon it. So I just have found it to be very powerful and helpful to my clients.
But this, I mean, the reason that I know it works is that I hear from people who have come to you with problems that they haven't had. They've gone through talk therapy, sometimes for many years, and with nothing to show for it. And they've gone to you. And they tell me, once went to our session, you fixed whatever it was that was broken. And sometimes they haven't even wanted to tell me what it was, but they said, I don't know how he did it, but now I'm all better. I say, well, good for you. Good for you, Peter, that you were able to help them so much.
I recently came upon a quote by Albert Einstein, who talked about how difficult it is to change things in the level of consciousness that you're in.
Yes.
When you go to a higher level, up into the light, up to the fifth dimension, where all the answers can be found, we can look down on the problem or issue and help you come to closure with it. Yeah. But I also want to add, this is often there are layers involved. So it's not 1 2-hour session. You're not necessarily, sometimes, I hope, but
it can take more than one. But yeah, it does amaze me. But I'm telling you, you have helped a number of people who found you through this program. So I'm very grateful to you that you've helped my friends. Thank you so much.
Or their guidance has come through. I'm not doing it. I'm just serving as a channel for
Yes,
those who work.
but whatever it is that you help them do, you have helped people make breakthroughs. So I'm very grateful to you for that.
Grateful for that as well. Thank you. So, comments, questions, other things you want to ask about
Well,
this?
we're coming close to the end of our time, but this is something. So you've had this traditional training, so that you sort of are coming from a place of traditional training, but you basically have created your own sort of system by putting together pieces of what other people have discovered
Exactly.
and found worked. And so
Exactly.
you've created your own mix of things.
I call it my unique approach because others, this is what I do. I find it works for me. And I've been fortunate enough to draw clients to me who are open to this particular modality, if you will, using hypnosis as a way with the help of their own guidance leading the session. And as I may have mentioned, the client is bringing her issues to the session, but the guidance is bringing their issues. And we just focus on the guidance issues because they know where we need to go first and they'll take us there.
Yeah, yeah. The people who are working, I describe this when I'm teaching it. Each person you see on the street is actually a walking crowd. Nobody comes into this world alone. We're all a team. Every single person is a whole team of people, and quite precious. Each of us cannot comprehend how much we are infinitely loved and supported in our lives. Nobody is alone. We are all a team. And so what you really do is just bring together all the people on that team and galvanize them to work on anything that has basically gone wrong. And it's all a team based in love too. That's something that people need to understand. It's not a negative team. They're all so positive. Just get the negativity out of the way and we fix the problems. That's what we do. It's
In fact, I tell my clients that from my perspective, help is all around us, but help cannot help us unless we ask for it. And so I encourage them to imagine themselves sitting there, and that they have their own their guidance is there, and this includes spirit guides, angels, archangels, ascended masters, and all those from the light. That each of them has a little cubicle with a comfortable chair, a small desk, and a red phone. They're waiting for help. They're bored. Give them something to do.
they're bored.
They're here to help us. They can work on thousands of people simultaneously. That's what they do. So ask for help and say thank you, because doing so
help. Yeah.
helps you help yourself.
I love the red phone. They're eager. They're eager for us to say, okay, I can't do this by myself because I don't know enough, but you guys are the experts. So just ask them. Ask them for help.
Exactly.
Oh, Peter, my dear friend, thank you so much. What do you want people to, so that's what you want people to take away really from our conversation today.
Yes. Earth that help us all around. So tune into your heart, not your brain. Your brain is third dimension. Your heart is fifth dimension, connected to your guidance, connected to God, or whatever you call the great unknown there. And ask about next steps and get out of the way, trusting first thought, first feeling, first image, first voice, and magic can happen.
You know, when I first knew you and you said that, I heard you say trust first thought, first feeling, and so on. That's very valuable advice. I started taking that advice. And then when I first got to know my spirit guide, he told me that was his voice, that you were telling me to trust. And you're right. That really is true, because then we get in the way and we start second guessing that first voice. And that's wrong. That's the wrong thing to do, because that second voice is my voice, and I don't know nearly as much as he does. So you're right. I gotta get out of his way. Oh, Peter, I love you. I think you're wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today. And everybody, we really have come to the end of our time. So As you know, this very special time we have together is sacred to me, and it's very, very precious to me that you understand. Please understand, never forget that you are a powerful, eternal being. Please always know you never began and you never will end. If you are alive now, you always have been and you always will be alive and aware. You're eternal by your very nature. Never forget that. If you always know that, that awareness of that certainty will change everything in your life for the better. Next week, our guest will be Raymond Moody. He's going to be with us for the fourth time. I don't know why I didn't start having him as a regular person sooner, because he always makes me giggle. He's a joyous, joyous man, and he really needs no introduction. He published Life After Life in 1976, where he coined the term near-death experience. And after that, he started writing with Paul Perry. He wrote Glimpses of Eternity and The Light Beyond. He's just delightful. He and Paul Perry are just out with Proof of Life After Life, 7 Reasons to Believe There Is an Afterlife. And I think their book is excellent. But basically, he's coming back because he pocket dialed me for some reason. I have no idea why. We started chatting. I said, "Hey, why don't you come back?" He said, "Sure, great." So he's coming back next week. Just join us, because I don't know what the heck we're going to talk about, but whatever it is, it'll be fun. And we'd love to just have you join us for a giggle. Raymond Moody is just a delightful man, and he's a pathbreaker in the afterlife community. He's getting older, and you just don't want to miss whatever it is he's up to now. And today we've been talking with Peter Wright, who has been with us for a wonderful 20th time. Peter is a certified hypnotherapist based in Santa Barbara, California. Has had more than 30 years of experience working with thousands of clients at this point. And he, as you can see, he's blazing a trail, because nobody else really knows how quite to do this perfectly right. He's only one of 40 board-certified past life regression therapists in the United States, but what he's doing is coming up with the perfectly right way, and still not quite right, I think, but he's probably just about the best way to do this. How to access and help you access your team to ideally get at all the complex ways in which your team can fix whatever is the complex ways that things may have gone wrong in your teams. I don't know. I don't understand. He doesn't quite, I think, understand either. But what they can do is put your team together. And if you work with your team, they can fix things which we don't even quite understand yet about what's going on. But what I hear from the people who have worked with him about how they have had problems their whole lives, which he has fixed in the latter part of people's lives, they tell me it's like a miracle. I don't have these problems, but people have had these problems that Peter has helped them fix. And my gosh, if you have something that's been bothering you your whole life long and suddenly it's right when it's always been wrong, this is like a miracle. So if you have any kind of problem like this, I don't even know, physical problems too, Peter has helped people fix these problems. And he'll give you a conversation for free just to see if you might even be able to try to fix it. I would call him up and talk to him about it, because our minds are what cause most of our problems, even the physical problems we have. Our great friend Mark Gober wrote he wrote about all the upside down. He wrote those upside down books. He's been here with all of them, and I didn't think upside down medicine was going to be worth anything, but that's the most interesting upside down book of all, because the scientists say that all of the problems we have in medicine are physical, and actually most of them turn out to be mental, folks. Our minds cause all our problems. So let's see what Peter Wright can do about maybe fixing them all. Peter, frankly, every time I talk with him, he impresses me a little bit more. So let's see what more he can do for all of us. He's To me, he is really one of God's gifts to us. So bless you, Peter. I just love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And as you know, our great friend Craig Hogan is the president of Seek Reality Online, and that's your one-stop resource. We all have another stop coming, friends, because life is eternal, it turns out, and there's nothing we can do about that. So once you've got this life kind of locked, it's time to start looking at the next life. And Seek Reality Online is your one-stop resource when it comes time to look at the next life. Craig Hogan he's our conductor on that train. So go to Seek Reality Online and start working on that. See, your life really is eternal, and it turns out that's all good news, but it's good if you kind of know what's coming, because it turns out now we're finding out that more than a quarter of the people who get on that train end up taking some detours that it would be better not to take, and you can avoid them all. So join our friend Craig on Seek Reality Online and find out all the things that might go wrong so they won't go wrong for you. And bless you, Craig. He'll be back, by the way, with us soon again to talk about some of that as well. Teachingsbyjesus.com. This is another thing that has gone wrong we're trying to fix for you. Christianity was not founded by Jesus. It was founded by the Roman Emperor Constantine. And now that the Christianity that he founded is finally going away, Teachingsbyjesus.com is your one-stop resource for the true teachings of Jesus. We started the website for Master Jesus, and we're going to build it as best we can according to what he is telling us to do. The biblical teachings of Jesus at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are mostly what Jesus actually taught, and we are working now to make them purely what Jesus taught. Your one-stop resource for all the things that Jesus taught. We're just starting with that now, and we are praying very hard that we will get it right. Teachingsbyjesus.com, what Jesus actually taught. Finally, it's his turn. Also, as you know by now, my own nonfiction books are Liberating Jesus, My Thomas, The Fun of Dying, The Fun of Staying in Touch, The Fun of Growing Forever, The Fun of Living Together, and The Fun of Loving Jesus, Embracing the Christianity that Jesus taught. For young children, there's also The Fun of Meeting Jesus. You can order all these books through bookstores or on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. All the adult books, except the most recent one, are also available as audiobooks. We're told now that they're not available after all on Amazon, even though I recorded them. So we're trying to fix that too. Oh my goodness. If you want to talk about anything at all, you can always contact me through the green contact block on RobertaGrimes.com. And all of the more than 550 now episodes of Seek Reality are available wherever audio podcasts can be found. And you can see our new video episodes each week on Roku, Fire Stick, YouTube, and elsewhere. Meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy and make the most of this coming week in our one reality, always knowing that you're a powerful, eternal being, and you, most of all in this universe, are infinitely, eternally, and perfectly loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at RobertaGrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.